While the DMZ zone between North and South Korea might not be the most magical trip to experience, while we were in Korea we decided to go for it. Why not? Now I would like to air a bit of caution that we did notice a lot of propaganda from the south side also. We'll get into that later on. The trip started off very early in the morning. You were given a designated location to be picked up and we were greeted by a very friendly tour guide. Her English was very good, very decent. I would say there was a little bit of not the best, but we managed to make do. You're picked up by the bus and then you travel for about an hour and a half to the actual zone. Make sure you bring your passport. They do remind you several times to bring your passport, so don't forget it. You'll go to an area and then you'll be given a designated time to enter the DMZ zone. There's a lot of, no, we're on the outside, we're in the DMZ, we're back out the outside, we're back in the DMZ. So just go along with it. The tour we took, there are many different types of tour guides, but a lot of them seem to procreate around this area here. There's a train just out one of the bridges. It was the last severed bridge, and then they go on to speak about, oh, we built a new bridge in case of reunification. But 1 minute they would say, yes, we're hoping to reunify with the North, and then 2 minutes later there's a lot of propaganda about them being the enemy. So it was a lot of back and forward. Very strange, to be honest. I'm sure, like, again, it could be a tour guide. You need to say these specific things, especially the unification. Yes, we're hoping for this, but then on the other side, it's not going to happen. This was kind of cool and interesting. There was a little shop here where you could buy North Korean money. We did get into the queue, but the price of it, and in all fairness, we'll probably never use it, so it was kind of like almost not worth it, so we didn't end up buying any. Some people did. Then we were brought around to some more memorials, war memorial places like this one here. As you'll see, there's a few names listed up there, a few hundred names. There's a few soldier statues, and then you're brought from there to the suspension bridge. The suspension bridge was pretty cool. We walked over it, and then that was it. Basically, you just walk back, and it showed me how out of shape I was by the end of this big trip. This is coming close to the end of the trip. I did leave Korea after this coming home. Thankfully, I'm back home now, editing all these videos, and this is getting to the end. So if I'm getting a bit sloppy here now, I do apologise, because I'm just wanting to get these over and done with and get back to Ireland. The trip didn't include any food, but you were able to purchase at various shops. But I felt like the time was limited in some areas. It was like, yep, we're here for 10 minutes. Please, be back in the bus at exactly this time and exactly this time. There was also an option to go to the caves. It was part of the tour, but we didn't decide to go into it because you weren't allowed to record in it. So I felt there was no point. If I couldn't record in it or take photos, it wasn't really worth it for me to crawl through a tunnel. It would just be like any other tunnel, really, I assume, from the photos. The tour guide was very friendly. We did try to tell her a few things that she was probably getting a little wrong on pronunciation, but we'll see if she improves. But other than that, she was a lovely lady, very friendly, very smiles all day long. This is the suspension bridge here. I think I timed it better on the way back, where there was one person on it. I took a photo so I could use it as, hey, this is me on the bridge on my own, but it's a bit of trick photography there. The bridge, it looks a bit bouncy, but it's actually not. It's very strong and very stable. It takes about 2 minutes to walk across, take a few photos along the way, but it was nice and a lovely view as well. We were lucky that the weather was nice here. However, when we got to actually the observation tower later on, as you'll see, the weather kind of just become obscure over the entire landscape and you couldn't make out any details. We did get yelled at a few times for trying to take photos or videos of certain things, so just be wary that they are very protective of certain areas, so just be careful. So on the other side of the bridge, if you had a bit of time, there is another monastery or type of temple up a bit further, but at this stage it was like a few days before going home. I was very tired. I just barely made it across this bridge alone. The nature was stunning and beautiful. It was a beautiful sight. And then we ended up going to a war museum. We were watching a quick video. It was just a bit about the history and the devastation caused in the war. Everybody does suffer during these times. And then there was an overlay map of the area and where people can meet and greet on neutral term grounds. Obviously we weren't allowed there because you need to go through diplomacy. There was a tank around, and then there was a cool DMZ statue type thing, signs. Take some photos there, and then this is where you go into the cave as well, but as I mentioned, we kind of decided to not partake in that. Nobody seemed to be over thrilled or over amazed or talking about it on the bus. Now the trip that we did take, they had this cool thing where you plug in these earphones, and as the tour guide is speaking you can hear what she's saying directly to you, because there are loads of other tour groups. We did notice that it was very busy. During the tour groups you're kind of hearing from other tour groups and you don't want to be, distracted, so that's what the earpieces are good. Other people have louder megaphones to speak, so it was kind of a bit overwhelming at times. We started to climb towards the observatory where it was built. It's a short 5-minute walk from the car park of where the bus lets you off. Some nice artwork decorated around. But once we got in here we noticed a lot of propaganda. One of them being that they don't have any electricity in North Korea at all. No electricity, no TV, no running water. And then they said that a few minutes later, oh yeah, we dropped in some USBs with a lot of information and videos and scenes from South Korea to debunk any of the propaganda on the north side. But if they didn't have a computer that needs electricity, when a lot of USBs are dropped, how would that make sense? And they did mention, oh yeah, it's for it to be brought to Kim Jong-un, but if you dropped the USB and you never knew what a USB stick was, how would you know, oh, I must get this to the Supreme Leader? So there was a lot of that. And we kind of picked up on it, and then once you pick up on that and then just start to listen to everything else that's being told, you start hearing the propaganda. And if everything was as bad as it was needed, you wouldn't need these lies of propaganda. Anyway, I don't want to go and get myself demonetized for going into a little rant there. Just be wary, smile and nod. And then for some reason we go into this small little town that's right beside the Demilitarized Zone. I think it was less than 1,000 people live here, or it could have been 10,000, I'm not sure. And then they stop and you basically go into this shop, which just felt like basically a gift shop. It was another kind of tourist shop. Would I do this trip again? Or if I do it for the first time, it's something new and interesting. I've never been to a demilitarized zone. I don't think there's many in the world, if any. It's something I've said and done. I did kind of want to see it for myself, but I was thinking in my head a bit different. I was just thinking fences and then landmines and then a big open wide field and then fences on the other side. So it was a bit of a different experience than what I was expecting. War is always bad on either side. It's just a horrific thing, and I don't want to get more into it. I'd probably love to create a channel where I didn't need to be monetized and just go rant on about wars and stuff like that. However, we're here on this monetized one. Would I do this again? As I said, yes, I probably would. Should you? I wouldn't have high expectations, but it's something to do. I found Korea very spaced out, very not, I don't know how to describe it. I probably wouldn't go again to Korea. It was lovely, it was enjoyable, the food, the people, everything was good, but I don't know, it just doesn't have that wow factor for me, for whatever it was. Again, there was some beautiful buildings and the infrastructure and the transport was amazing, but I don't know, Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia, they would all be priority before going to South Korea again. But some people love it there. It's up to you. What do you think about South Korea? And this is nothing offensive. If someone said the same about Ireland, I'd be like, oi, you, let me show you what's good about Ireland. So, if someone has something, maybe I didn't see what I should have been seeing in South Korea, maybe I was just too tired at the end of my trip, I would love to hear what you think down below in the comments.